See these gorgeous peanut butter cookies? Mmm. How'd you like to learn how to make them? They're so easy. Stick around, we'll make them together. Okay, so let's get started. These are pretty easy, but you gotta kind of follow along. So what I have in this bowl is half a cup of peanut butter. I like crunchy because then I don't have to stir any nuts in. So I like crunchy peanut butter, and make sure you use organic or Valencia. Add to that about a teaspoon of vanilla. You can measure it. If you have a little bit extra vanilla, the flavor will be great. You're gonna add a quarter cup of extra virgin avocado oil. I really love this because it's gonna give it a nice buttery taste. But you've got peanut butter, so you really only need a quarter cup. And again, you can eyeball it or, whatever. Okay, so that goes in. And then goes in a half cup of Suzanne's Specialties maple rice syrup. I love this better than all other rice syrups because that little bit of maple flavor that comes from fenugreek gives me that little hit of sweetness that just kind of puts the cookies over the top. If you want the cookies to be sweeter, because you're not sure your crowd, you could add to this at this point about 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. And that'll lift your sweetness even a little bit higher and still keep it low glycemic index. We are not going to do that though. We're going to rely on rice syrup. And now you just mix this together. You can use a hand mixer or a whisk, but I'm kind of a mix it this way girl. I just think that it blends really easily and it doesn't have to be perfect because this is going to go into your dry ingredients. So once you have it mixed to about that consistency, right, things are pretty much together. Then you're going to move to this bowl. This bowl just has 1.5 cups of whole wheat pastry flour. I'm going to add to that a pinch of Saltworks pure fine grind sea salt. I love this for baking because the grind is really fine and it's just a pure white unrefined sea salt. Spectacular. Half teaspoon each baking soda, baking powder. Just put those in. Those will help the cookies to rise a bit. Some vitamin spice cinnamon, so you're getting lovely cinnamon taste and some antioxidants. Just about like a generous pinch. Now we're going to mix together our dry ingredients. Some people like to whisk at this point, but they're cookies. I really don't. And now in go our wet. The peanut butter and the rice syrup and the oil. Try to get all the goodness out of there. And now you just work folding, sort of pulling the wet up from the bottom and folding the flour in until you get a soft cookie dough that is stiff enough for you to roll into balls. So you don't want it too sticky, you don't want it too wet. You want it to be, as Goldilocks says, just right. So it's starting to pull together and gather into a ball, and this is how you know you're on the right track. The other reason I like to hand mix is now my gluten doesn't become too active and the cookies don't get tough. Because you want to stop mixing as soon as your ingredients are incorporated, and before you even email me and ask me, yes, you can make this exact same recipe with quinoa flour and have a gluten-free peanut butter cookie. What's cool about that is you've got that little bit of cinnamon in there, which would take away any sort of aftertaste that you might get from the quinoa flour. So now, with wet hands, we're going to roll these little cookies into balls, little spheres. About, I'm not really good with math. I'm going to say that's about 1.5 inches. Might be 2. And you're just going to roll these. You want to put them about 3 apart on a standard sheet because they are going to spread and pop a little bit. So once you have them down, you're going to go 3 across and 4 down to put a dozen on a sheet. You're going to wet your fork. Some people dip it in flour, but I prefer to wet the fork so that I don't leave a flour residue on top of my cookies, which can make them tough. And you're going to make that signature crisscross that you know for peanut butter cookies. And these are going to bake anywhere from 16 to 18 minutes. And you want to take them out of the oven while they're still a little bit soft. And as they cool, they'll harden. You don't want these crunchy. They're peanut butter cookies. You want them a little bit soft. So I'm going to say start with 16, go to 18 depending on your oven. And then you'll have the greatest treat ever.